Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here doing my spoiler discussion for Kong Skull Island. Of course, I did a spoiler pre-review for this film, so if you guys want to skip all the spoilers and go straight to my super vague review, there's already a link in the description for that, so you guys can check that out. And if you're interested, come back here after you've seen the film. But getting right into the spoilers, I actually want to go to the last bit of footage that you could possibly watch in this film, and that is the post-credit sequence. If you haven't seen that or you didn't know there was a sequence, I'm sorry, but I am about to spoil it. You probably know what it is, depending on who you are. If you're like nerdy like me, as soon as I found out there was an extra credit sequence, I'm like, I think I know what it's going to be. And then I heard what it was before I saw the film. I wanted to be a little bit more surprised, but it didn't matter. I was like, I figured that would be it. And plus, even when you see the extra credit sequence before that, as the credits are scrolling through, it's like, it's less than a minute before you're about to get to this scene, and then it's just like, oh, for legal reasons, Godzilla, Rodan, and Ghidorah, and Mothra are all owned by Toho. It's like, oh, well, I think I know literally what I'm about to see here in this extra credit sequence. Although, admittedly, I was kind of surprised that they had to put that in there for, like, some cave drawings. I was like, oh, that's it? I thought there was going to be, like, actual pictures, and it was just cave drawings for everything. I was like, oh, I'm kind of surprised that they had to legally put that stuff in there, but I guess we know who they're referencing, so they still had to do that. I just thought it was funny. I was expecting, like, actual images, and then it's just like, oh, that's a cave painting. Like, when I first saw Godzilla, I honestly couldn't tell what I was looking at. I thought I was looking at, like, a weird shadow where it was supposed to be the shadows of the spike, and then I was like, oh wait, no, that's an actual little cave drawing of Godzilla. I was like, oh, that's what they were showing. I thought it was supposed to be like this, silhouette of Godzilla's spikes on the wall or something. I was like, oh no, that's just a little chalk drawing of Godzilla, and then Mothra and Rodan and Ghidorah. So I thought that was pretty cool. My favorite thing about it, with being a Godzilla fan, I'm not a super huge Godzilla fan. I just really like Godzilla. Like, I know more than most of the people around me that Godzilla isn't the 90s version of Godzilla. Like, I knew that wasn't the real Godzilla. I knew Godzilla could spit fire before 2014. Like, everyone around me was like, I didn't know Godzilla spit fire. I was like, what? How does that work? Like, that blew my mind. My girlfriend and her siblings didn't know that. I was like, what? Godzilla spits? Like, how do you not know Godzilla spits amazingly cool blue fire? So I know more than enough, apparently, about compared to the people I know. But going into that, I was like, alright, I know Mothra because of the name, but I don't really remember a lot of the other Godzilla villains by name. Like, if you say their name, I can't instantly, bring to mind a certain villain, because I have only seen a few of the Godzilla films. And when I saw, I believe King Ghidorah is the three-headed dragon, so I saw that and I was like, I can't wait to see that in CG, compared to, considering what they did with this film where we get to see a lot of Kong. I think, I mentioned my spoiler pre-review, I feel they made up for that. So we get to see a lot of Kong, and the CG is great. CG was good for Godzilla as well. Of course, we just didn't get to see him as much. So I was like, alright, they seem to have gotten past their mistake of not giving us the monster in the monster movie. And I just can't wait to see what we're going to get. And it seems like, I don't know how this works, because they made it seem like it almost looked like Godzilla was fighting against a three-headed dragon over a city landscape, and I'm like, are these cave drawings or what? Because I'm like, that looks like a city landscape. It literally looked like there was a building in front of Godzilla that was on fire, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I just saw it wrong, but that's what it looked like to me. I was like, those don't look like mountains in that drawing, and it just made me laugh, because I'm like, that looks like a building on a cave painting to me. But considering that, and how they're kind of teasing it, where it's like Godzilla for sure is going to fight the other three-headed dragon creature, which I'm excited to see. I can't wait to see how they do that with CG and how they do the scope and the scale of these creatures, because that was one of my favorite things in this film with King Kong, was like, look how big this thing is. It's not just like, oh, it's King Kong and they do close-ups and it's CG. It was like, here's King Kong from super far away, and he's ginormous. He's taller than the setting sun right now. Like, stuff like that, and it looked amazing. So I can't wait to see how they utilize that, kind of I guess the lesson they've learned from Godzilla, where we don't see enough, and the way they've not only shown us more, but given us a great sense of scale and stature of these creatures. I just can't wait to see how they utilize that for these new monsters coming out. And then it makes me wonder, with King Kong versus Godzilla in the future. Also, I love the fact that they did the actual Godzilla roar at the end, because I love that sound effect, so that was really awesome too. But with them going into King Kong versus Godzilla, which is supposed to be like in 2020, how are they supposed to deal with the other creatures? Because I know Godzilla 2 is coming out, But those are 3 Godzilla villains. Like, are they all going to be in the next Godzilla movie? Which I highly doubt. So maybe we'll get one of those. It'll probably, I feel like it'll be Mothra. That's like, I feel like the most popular for people that don't really know Godzilla. Kind of like me, it's like Mothra is like always #1, and maybe just because it's obvious what it is. So I feel like Mothra might be #1, especially going off of the Mudos from the first film, where it was kind of like, are these going to turn into Mothra? Because that's what it seemed like, where they crawl and then they started flying, and it was like, technically they still are Mothra. So I feel like that's where we might be headed first. But who knows? You know, they showed 3 different creatures, so I'm just like, how is this going to play out as far as the Godzilla King Kong movies? Because we have Godzilla, I think it's called King of the Monsters, it's supposed to be the name for the second film. So I was like, is it going to be Godzilla versus all 3? Are they going to really do that in the second film? Like, it's like Godzilla King of the Monsters and he takes on all 3? That would be amazing, but I'd be really surprised if they did that. And then I believe there is supposed to be another King Kong movie before it's King Kong versus Godzilla, because we have King Kong 2, and that's, I think that might actually be next year, so maybe we don't. Maybe it's next year is Godzilla 2, and then after that in 2020 is King Kong versus Godzilla. So maybe all 3 will be in the next Godzilla film, but those are 3 big monsters. I'm like, okay, a lot of people probably aren't going into the second Godzilla film expecting 3 of the most famous Godzilla creatures to come into play. Not to mention the fact that one of them is going to be a 3-headed dragon. So I'm just excited to see how that's going to look. But it was a great ending segment, even knowing that it was coming. It was just a cool nerd moment. It's like, it's a different feeling compared to like the comic movies, and it's like, okay, we're going to get this. This is just something where it's like, we've had it before, but it was such a long time ago, and it was, you know, dudes in rubber suits and whatnot, which is still cool. But especially after this film, you know, with Godzilla, it was like, that was cool, but this was like, here's an action-packed monster movie. It just really has me excited, so I can't wait to see what they do with that. Really love that ending segment, and just that teaser was just really, really good, knowing these characters, or being at least somewhat familiar with them. It just has me super excited for where we're headed for, you know, the next Godzilla movie, and then, of course, King Kong versus Godzilla, and how that's going to play out. And who knows, maybe they'll save Ghidorah for King Kong versus Godzilla. Maybe they'll team up. It'll be like a typical, you know, like, these are both the super huge, you know, monsters that everybody loves, but it either has to come to a tie, or they just team up, and it's like a superhero movie. It's like, oh, but they're both heroes, but they're fighting, and then they team up in the middle of the movie, and they fight the real villain. I don't know if it'll play out like that. I don't know if they'll come to that sort of human consensus like most superheroes do, but either way, I'm looking forward to that. But going into like the actual film and not like the future of what they're doing with this universe, I enjoyed what we got to see. As far as the human characters, I mentioned this in my spoiler-free review, didn't care too much for them. Samuel L. Jackson was Samuel L. Jackson. He was mad the whole movie, but I did like what they did with this character because he was crazy. Like, it got crazier and crazier, and even the people around him knew it, but they followed him because it's that, you know, brothers in arms sort of thing, and it was that military aspect to it. And I was like, I kind of like that idea, because we have this guy, as soon as they show his character, one of the first things he says is, all this and for what? Because he wanted to be in war. Like, he wanted it to have a purpose, and as soon as he got that phone call, it's like, you know, I don't need time to think about this. I want to fight and I want to kill something for my country. That's pretty much who his character was. And he's just happy. He's like, sweet, we have something to do. We have something to kill. We have an enemy. And he just needs something to fight. And so they go in, dropping bombs. And of course, a buttload of people get destroyed, which was an amazing action sequence in the beginning where I was like, okay, I know he's going to destroy some helicopters. From what we saw in the trailer, I was like, alright, this will probably last a couple minutes. I didn't think that was going to be like a 10-minute action sequence of him like grabbing helicopters and slamming them into each other and like slam dunking on planes. Because there was one plane where he just jumped and was just slammed, and I was like, well, that's a slam dunk right there. So that was a great opening action sequence for Kong. And I was like, man, this lasted way longer than I thought. We have people running. They had a very interesting line where it's 2 guys running. And so one dude gets killed because he just kept running straight. And the other guy was like, run to the side, you idiot. And he dodged. And then King Kong like just stepped on the other dude. And I was like, that's really funny, because they always do that in movies where people just run straight. It could be like a rolling, you know, basketball, and they'll just run straight. And like, oh my God, it's catching up to me. And you can just do like this. And it's like, poof, you win. So it was funny that he said that, like, run to the side, you idiot. And unfortunately, he still died. Like, he lands next to the guys. And then all those people get up, and he's like, oh crap. And he looks, which is, like they got up, just go. And he just gets like swept up off the ground and launched through the sky. There are so many people that just flew through the air in this movie too. It's crazy. But great opening action sequence. And then we get to like the craziness where Samuel Jackson's mad, and it's just, that's when we get to that funny, it was funny, but it was also kind of cool because it's just like, especially when it started, it was hilarious. I don't know where that guy came from, but it starts and it's just Sam Jackson, he's just looking, he's like, it's King Kong, I'm mad at this thing because it killed my men. And then there's this dude right next to him who's just like on fire in slow motion. I'm like, that's funny. Like, it probably wasn't meant to be, but that is hilarious to just have like, he's having this stoic moment looking up at this giant thing, and there's just a dude next to him like, I'm on fire. And it was just so funny to see it that way. But good scene, and he's just mad, he's looking at this thing and there are explosions going off and stuff. So they have like the eye-to-eye moment. He's like, I have to kill this creature because it's the ultimate enemy. Even after everything he learns, where it's like, yeah, you came down and, Kong killed a bunch of your guys, but you did drop bombs and you woke up the actual problems that were killing off all humans, and then they spawn and then they'll go out to the rest of the world and destroy everything. Even after that, he's just like, nope, killed my men. I lied and said that I cared about the one dude who, admittedly, the guy who had the kid, I didn't think he was going to die, at least not that early. I mean, he died, he didn't even get to meet the other characters. And that was one of the things I liked about the film, is that after the helicopter sequence, they were still split up for a good while, and I thought he was going to have like his own little story until they finally met up with him. And he only got like 3 scenes, and then he ends up shooting at like the camouflage bug. It was just like a little twig bug, and it's walking away. And I thought it was like a cool moment where he's like, oh, these creatures aren't all just here to attack us. That's what I thought the point of that moment was, because he injured it and it was scared of him. That's what I thought. And then it backs up, and then he's having this look. I'm like, oh, that was a cool moment where he learns like, oh, these creatures aren't all just crazy and trying to kill everything smaller than them. And then he turns around and it's just like, he's out of the movie. And I was like, well, I didn't see that coming. He's the dude with the kid, and they killed him like, what, 30 minutes into it? I was like, all right. I thought he would live at least a little bit longer, like close to the end, if not all the way, as like the one guy with the kid. I was like, nope, he's dead. Way less useful characters survived. Like, of the army characters, there were like 3 of them that made any difference to the film. Samuel L. Jackson, his right-hand man, who, I wish I could remember the actors' names, but him, who was like, he was following the orders, and he's the one who had the pretty cool story about why he had that gun, and talking about how, like, he recognized that his, the guy in charge is kind of losing it, but I have to follow him because we are like this tight-knit family. So he tells that story about how he has that gun, and it's like, that person had never picked up a gun until we basically came to their home and started, killing people. And I was like, that was a pretty interesting story, and he only told that story because he knew, he kind of knew the path that they were headed down. So the 2 of them, and then the guy who played ECE, and then Get Out of Compton, I don't know his name either, or Straight Outta Compton. So the 3 of them were the only ones that made a real difference. And then of course we had the youngest guy who was with the other characters. But as far as like the actual platoon that stuck together the whole movie, those are the only 3. And I'm pretty sure there were like 3 other guys with them. There were like 5 other guys with them by the end. When they were in the part where they were fighting the skull crawlers in like the methane place, I was like, where did all these other people come from? I don't even remember seeing them in the background. So we had those 3 guys. There was the 4th guy who was with Sam Jackson in the very beginning. He was like the first person he talked to after they all got separated, and he was like, yeah, I'm good to go. So I remember him because he said like that one line in the whole movie. And then there's other people. There's the dude that set up like the 50 cal on the Triceratops head on the skull. And I was like, I don't remember that guy. Then there was like a special flamethrower guy that's like, do your thing. I'm like, where was this guy at? He had a flamethrower. So he came out of nowhere, and then he just got whipped off and he was killed. The guy with the 50 cal got rushed and he was launched through the sky. Like, everybody was just getting launched the whole movie. So I'm like, they had all these people that I just, even as like open landscape shots, I thought it would be like 7 people, and then I swear when they were in that thing, it looked like 20 people or something running around and hiding. And I was like, I don't remember even seeing these people in the background of these shots. So it was really funny. It was like, that's how useless those characters were. And like, it's crazy. Like I said in my spoiler-free review, there are some characters who get lines, and it's like, why'd they even bother getting, lines? Like, there's no reason for this. They shouldn't even be in the movie for some of these characters. And one of those other characters is the young female scientist that goes with like John Goodman's character and the other guy. They say her name in the beginning when they're first doing like the briefing and stuff, and she has like 4 lines in the whole movie and does nothing. Like, she didn't save anybody, she didn't really make a specific decision to do this or do that or anything like that. She just stayed there. Then she was with the white guy at the end when they're on the boat. It's like, all right, what do we do? And that was it. Like, she just had a couple lines in there, and I don't know. I was just like, all right. They gave like no backstory to why she was chosen to go on the mission. Like, John Goodman's character, he saw Kong, and that's why he wanted to go to the island. The guy that he picked up, he wrote a theory on like the hollow ground stuff, so that's why he was there. And then I guess the woman could read the same charts. I don't know. Like, there's just no reasoning. She was just there, and they didn't say like why she was a specialist. She just was. And I'm like, all right, she's there, whatever. Same thing with a lot of the army characters, where it was just like they don't all need to be there. It wasn't like that army thing where they all get like a specific personality. It was like the 2 guys who went back and forth and Sam Jackson. Those are the 3 guys that matter. And then the kid ended up being with the other character, so he mattered because they all actually got like talking points. The army characters, it was like 3 guys get to talk, everyone else shut up and be in the background somewhere, and that was it. So I was like, there's a lot of characters, and I know it's an army film, but I felt like they all were alive for so long. Like, nobody died until like towards the end when they finally got to the Skullcrawler place, and that's when people finally started to die. So there's so many people, they weren't dying off little by little like I was expecting. It was like, all right, everybody's surviving. I'm like, okay, that's surprising. I didn't see that coming. And then everybody got wiped out during the Skullcrawler section, and then the right-hand man, he ends up sacrificing himself, and he thought it was going to work, which I thought was interesting. I was like, that kind of sucks. And I thought he had a smarter idea, which he had a grenade launcher. I thought he was just, I forgot because this scene is actually in the trailer, but I didn't realize that that was him holding the grenades in the sky. I was like, oh, he dropped the machine gun because he's like, this is it. I'm going to try to save them. So you guys go ahead. I thought those were grenades, like for a grenade launcher. And I thought he was going to lift up his grenade launcher and just shoot this thing in the face, because it's not like Kong where he's like so up high that you have to shoot his toes and stuff. These things crawl really low so they can actually get people. And I was like, okay, he dropped the machine gun because he's going to whip out the grenade launcher and start shooting it. And then he just whipped out the grenades and flicked the pins off. I was like, okay, this will work because the thing will try to go at him. And then it was like, nope, boom, and it just whipped him away. And I was like, wow, that's an effed up way to die. Like, he was doing the whole sacrifice and everything. It was like, bye. And then he just hits the wall and explodes. I was like, that's effed up. That's sadder than the lead up for some reason, because he was trying to sacrifice himself and do good. And it was like, no, get out of here. And it was just like, and just let him go. So I was like, all right, that was a useless sacrifice. That's up for him. But interesting moment. Once again, the body count of somebody just like flying through the air went up just one extra tick. But you know, it was just crazy. Like, all the action was just nuts. When they're in the Skullcrawler section, that was pretty interesting, and they're being surrounded. John Goodman's character dies. Like, a lot of people, you know, well, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but a couple of characters that I expected to live just died. Just like, all right, you're dying now. John Goodman died. He kind of deserved it for taking those people there, but it was just like, all right, he's out of there. Sam Jackson at the very end, I'm like, oh, is he finally gonna do something? I thought he was gonna at least try to kill both the creatures, and he's just like, I'm still pissed at you. And he tries to kill him, and Kong's just like, all right, I'm tired, man, and just smashes him. So he's finally out. The dude sacrificed himself. He gets whipped, and then everybody else lives after that. And I was like, okay, I'm surprised. There are more, you know, a lot more people live than I expected. The people that I didn't even realize existed until that Skullcrawler section, who like randomly spawned out of nowhere, they of course got wiped out because none of them mattered, even though they were like specialists with flamethrowers. Never saw that flamethrower go off once. Machine guns flipping and flying all over the place. They're chopping legs off giant spiders, which was a great scene. I love the fact that the giant spiders' legs look like the bamboo trees. I thought that was just amazing. I just thought it was a really cool idea. Also, how that guy died, that was really messed up. That was probably the craziest kill in the whole film, actually, where he just looks up and it just steps on him. I was like, well, that was messed up. But crazy creatures, some really insane kills, like 800 people just flinging and flying through the sky. One dude flies so far he lands on the helicopter, then flies into the blades and dies. And I was like, that's a messed up way to die. That's the dude who actually knew how to run to the side. Then he gets flung into a helicopter and gets chopped up. The fact that all the helicopters crashed, I like that, because like I said, I didn't think every helicopter was going down. I was like, okay, a couple people die, everyone backs off. Kong made sure everybody went down, all the main characters got separated and crashed. I was like, I like that. Of course they all lived, but I like the fact that they at least went down. I was like, that's interesting that all the helicopters actually crashed. So I thought that was cool. Loved the action. Comedy was pretty good. I thought the comedy was actually good. The drama wasn't really there too much. We had the stuff with the main female character. I don't even remember the characters' names. So the main female character, of course, the scene where she sees Kong and she touches him, and then the part where he saves her life is like, all right, that's a reference to the original stuff where it's Beauty and the Beast, because he doesn't die in this, like he doesn't, like, I don't know, 5 of the other King Kong movies that are out there, because they're pretty much all remakes of the first film, so every King Kong is like the same thing. This is actually what makes this unique. Like, there's only like 3 or 4 movies out of all the King Kong movies that aren't just remakes of the original story, so it's very unique for that element. It's definitely the most action-packed one, but I enjoyed the film. There's not too much to talk about. It was just cool kills. He fought the octopus. That was awesome. That was a great first fight, and he's just slurping it up. Fighting the skull crawlers and stuff. I thought he was gonna do the thing where he's, snaps the mouth open. That's another very common thing for all the fight sequences, and they kind of reference that when he's trying to open the mouth, but he doesn't do the full snap, and it's like, all right, we got to keep it going because it's the final fight, so we get some more hits in there. But really enjoyed the action to it. Can't wait for the next one. Of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this film, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about this, your least favorite parts about it. Would love to know what your favorite action scene was out of this film, and what you guys hope to see with the next big kaiju film from this universe. So please put your comments down in the comment section below, and of course, thanks for watching.